So we did get them all 3 castrated. I think on the last video where I showed the pigs, we had castrated the little one, and then we stopped because we were unsure of ourselves. But we have since talked to Kevin Grounds over at Grounds Family Farm and Cassie Walker over at Walker Farm Fam, and they walked us through it and assured us that everything was looking good and we were doing it right. So we did, after getting Amy's son Hunter over here so that he could hold the other 2, we did get them all done. Of course, that has been a while. And it is amazing how fast they grow. This one right up front is huge. I cannot believe how big he is. They're all big, but he's really big. And I am sorry that it has taken a while to make a video, but the winds have been really bad here in Oklahoma. If you live in Oklahoma, you know what I'm talking about. And if you don't, you probably saw it on the news. There was a lot of wind damage, tornadoes, and a lot of fires, homes being destroyed. Property. So it is just, it's been impossible for me to film. And I'm wondering, I have a microphone on today, but I'm wondering, because the wind is blowing, how it's going to turn out, how it's going to sound if I'm doing this for nothing. Red, what are you doing? Y'all watch Red. Well, I tie this back. Well, I'm not tying it. I got chains now. Want to say hi to him, Red? Hey, Red. I'm filling their water up. I've already filled the pigs' water up. Just standing here watching them eat and petting Red while I'm waiting. There are a lot of things that I've got to show you because, like I said, it's been at least 2 weeks since I filmed. I know it's been about a week since a video has come out, but a video a lot of times ahead. And so I think it's been about 2 weeks. So a lot has changed. And I need to start thinking about selling Red. And I don't really know which way I'm going to go about selling her. I like going to auctions. I don't like buying animals from auctions. I've sold birds at auctions, but I don't know how I feel about selling a cow at an auction. I don't know. That's just something that I would have to think about. A lot of times when I think about going to auctions, a lot of times I think about people selling what they don't want because of behavioral problems or genetics or disease or something like that. That's not the case with Red. The only bull that I have access to is her father, so I can't use her. What I would like to do is keep her and sell that one because I like her genetics better. But that's I can't do that. So I need to figure out when and where to sell her. She's still got some growing to do. Do I sell her now? I know I got to sell her before the bull comes back in July sometime. Last year he was here at the end of July. But I don't know how much she weighs. I don't know how much to ask for her. And I guess that would be the advantage to going to an auction because you don't set the price there. I quit feeding the goats twice a day. The grass is starting to grow. We're finishing out that bale of hay that's open, and then that's all the hay I'm going to feed them. I'm going to feed them this time. This is in the evening. I'm going to go ahead and feed them this time because I want to show you what I've got going on out here. I want to check on everybody and just talk to you for a minute because things have changed. Hey, buddy. What are you doing? Are you ready? Are you ready? See if you got dog food. Oh, no, I got to go get dog food. I'll be right back, bud. Okay. Got his food in there. Let's see how to break this before you move out the way. You better get back. He's going to get you. I told you. You better get back. Get back. Sky. All right. So I have, as you can see, I have 4 does in here instead of 6, and the buck is gone. I have moved Flint And now I've got these birds out here. These are the birds that I bought at the swap meet here a few weeks back. And I had them locked in the cage up front. I'll put some water out here for them because they didn't know where the water was. Hang on a second. Let me give them their food so that they'll leave me alone. See? Get down. So I did put chicken food out here. Well, that chicken's in there eating the goat feed. But I put chicken food out here for these chickens. There's supposed to be 5 of them. Let's see if I can find one more. There she is. You gonna come out here and eat, or are you just gonna make a meal in here? Huh? These are those birds that came from a chicken house. They're laying hens. And I thought about selling them. I have those 3 roosters, 3 too many roosters. I thought about selling them with the roosters. I don't know. I may get some eggs from them first. I may hatch some eggs from them first. Leave a comment down below. Tell me what you think I ought to do, because they lay those big brown eggs. They're really good producers. So this weekend was the 2025 Okie Homesteading Expo. I just got back. This is Sunday. And so I got back. Yesterday was the last day of the expo. It was pretty interesting. It was as fun as always. I volunteered there. So part of the day was working as a volunteer, and part of the day I got to go around and talk to people and eat and listen to some of the lectures. And Joel was there again this time. And this time, though, he did a presentation, a demonstration on processing chickens. And his way of doing it went a lot more smoothly than the way that I have ever done it. I've only done it twice. I helped my friend Amy and them process a whole bunch of birds one time, and then here they came over and helped me process those 5 that I had year before last. So but the way Joel did it was a lot easier. It was very interesting, and his talk was interesting. I didn't go to his main event. I didn't go into when he went to the lecture, but what I'm saying is the talk that he did while they were waiting for the water to heat up so that they could process the birds was very interesting. He talked about the condition of the way we allow our chickens, our homestead chickens, the age, the conditions that they live in, and on all that. He talked about the bird flu quite a bit, and that was very interesting. I will be putting some clips at the end of this video. If you're wanting to just jump to that, go ahead and jump to that. But let me tell you that there were a lot of friends there, a lot of other YouTube channels that I'm going to list down in the description below. Please go take a look at those channels. They're not listed in any kind of order. And I need to point out that Sean and Brandy from Keeping It Dutch and Rachel and Kevin from Hidden Heights Farms hosted the event. They have it each year. So be sure to check out their channels. So anyway, I'm going to come over here and show you. So over here is where I've got Flint. That's the buck that was with the girls. He's polled, and that's the reason I got him, because I want that polled genetics. He's at next door to Rocky because I want them to kind of get used to each other. Let me hide from this wind back here. I want them to get used to each other before I put Flint over with Rocky. I think Flint is big enough to put with Rocky. They're going to fight it out. They're going to pick a dominance and figure that all out. Rocky's always been with Chase, and Chase was with someone else before that, and so they'll figure it out. The problem that I had before when I had Flint, Rocky got over into this pen when Flint was over here when he was younger, and he was not big enough to defend himself, but he is now. So that is the plan, and that'll probably happen within the next few days, because I don't like Flint hanging out in here, and the ducks can get into his water. But that's what's going on with the goats. So that leaves me with 4 does and 2 bucks. I know I don't need 2 bucks over here with just 4 does, but I like the moon spots on Rocky. I like Rocky's genetics, and I like that Flint is blue-eyed and polled. So that is why I have the 2. Greg was actually here this morning, and he got a whole bunch of eggs out of here. And he said there was a broody hen, but there's no hen here. He left her on the eggs, and I'm going to go ahead and leave that there because they're nasty. And she was sitting on them earlier. She may have gotten up to go get something to eat or whatever. Here's another egg. Here's another egg. So he said that one of the barred rocks were sitting on it, and he tried to move her, and she was unhappy about that, so he just left her there. But like I said, I was gone for the expo this weekend. He fed and watered, but he never came out and checked for eggs, and so there were a bunch that he brought in this morning, and then there's a whole bunch right there. So they're really laying now, which is really good, but I hope whoever it was gets back on the nest. That rooster is my laughing rooster. I'm going to keep him. My plans for this year were to sell all of these hens, these barred rocks that are older hens, and I mean, they're still clearly they're still laying. There's a bunch of eggs in there, but they're a few years old now, and I was going to sell them until the egg prices skyrocketed and the bird flu took off. Hang on, let me shut this door. So I'm really not sure which way I'm going to go with the chickens right now. I do need to get rid of some because inside I have 2 different brooders going with chicks about 2 weeks apart. I've got a total of 31 chicks, and then I also have 21 chicks in the incubator, which are the Jubilee Orpingtons, purebred. So I want to try to keep them separate. I think that means that I'll have to get another coop or build another coop or something. So I don't know if that'll happen. So out of the 21 eggs, 12 of them are mine. The others are for a friend. But hopefully, if the hatch hatches as well as the last batch did, we should be good. We should have as many as we need. But there's those roosters that I had in the front pen. I had them over here where Flint is, and they decided to get out of that. And then at some point, they decided to come up front. The gray rooster I saw him up here a while ago. He's been all over the place, but I put him back there with Tucker and those hens. Actually, I see him right now. He's over there with the hens. And that's where I want him to be, is with the hens. I want him to breed with those hens because I think I'm going to hatch some of their eggs. I'm going to try to incubate some of their eggs and get some hens out of those. But you know, I'm going to have a whole bunch of roosters out of these chicks that I have. So I will be going to auctions and selling roosters. And then hopefully at some point I'll be selling the hens that are still laying, but a little bit older. But I'm going to go ahead and put some clips in of the expo. I did not film much. I don't normally film very much, but there are some parts in there that Joel Salatin was talking. It was very informative, very interesting. I also enjoyed, there was a guy there, and I don't know who he was with, but there was a guy there talking about livestock guardian dogs, training, starting livestock guardian dogs. And I, like I said, I volunteered, and so I didn't hear all of that. I left part of that to get ready to go on my shift, get something to eat real fast and go on my shift. But he did answer, while I was there, he was able to answer a question that I had. He talked about, which gender, male or female, would be the best dog for guarding, and do you spay and neuter your guard dogs? Does it affect, like I didn't know if I got Tucker neutered, would it affect how well he guarded the goats? And the answer to that is it doesn't matter if it's a male or female, and he encourages people to get them spayed and neutered. One of the reasons he wants to get the males neutered is because they will start roaming if there's a dog near in heat and roam off your property. And once they start doing that, it's very hard to fix that habit. And so with that in mind, I'm seriously going to consider getting Tucker neutered. I say consider because he's a big dog. He doesn't like riding in the vehicles. It's very hard. It's going to be very expensive because he's a big dog. I'm going to talk to the vet about maybe some health concerns or some, just concerns in general about having surgery on a dog at this age, get him castrated at this age. But if everything goes well, if he's able to answer my questions and I feel comfortable with it, my plan is to get both Caleb and Tucker neutered. And so if you ever get a chance to go to the Okie Homesteading Expo, or any homesteading expo for that matter, I want to encourage you to try your best to get to one. It's very informative. And even if you've been doing this for a long time, there's always more than one way to do something, and somebody could bring something to your attention that you had never thought of. And not to mention the networking you can do, whether you're a YouTube channel or just, a homesteader, nothing to do with YouTube. There's a lot of networking and a lot of connections that can be made at a homestead. So I'm going to put a few little clips here at the end, and I hope you enjoy it. Time to sit down. How long have you been recording me? I just turned it on. I just turned it on.
I'm sitting. Yes, ma'am.
Sure I can see the screen up there.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sitting.
Ask me like, well, what's the difference between, you know, like llamas and donkeys and using guard dogs? And so the big thing is that, you know, guard dogs are really, I like to say that they're proactive versus the llamas and donkeys are more reactive. You know, the territorial exclusion is the dogs on a regular basis. They go around and, you know, kind of scent mark their territory. They're out there monitoring that all the time. You know, some of their territories may be bigger or larger than what we like. The sex of the dog really doesn't matter. I know that's a question. Some people are like, well, you know, if I get a female, she's going to stay with the herd. Okay, there's no research that says that's true. I haven't found that to be true in the research that we do. Same thing with males. Okay, I would encourage you to fix them all, and I would get them fixed, you know, probably by around a year of age, unless you have a really good secure system to be able to keep those dogs and let them mature a little bit longer. But most people don't, and they're gonna, as soon as they come into, you know, breeding age, they're going to start roaming, looking for a mate. And once roaming happens, you know, you might as well just write it off, because it's very difficult to stop. It can be done, but it's a lot of work. Okay.
Doing your taxes and properly accounting for your income and your loss takes some planning. And part of that planning process is making sure you have a system to keep good records. There's a lot of misconceptions about specifically income tax, which is what we're really going to be talking about this year. I really want to focus just on income tax issues. And so I want to try and explain why some things you may hear may be misleading, or it may not apply exactly the way it did to that person that you heard talking about it on YouTube.
Slow it down based on depending upon what demand we're trying to meet.
Let's go back. My brain,
How's everybody doing today? Good. So Joel ran over to watch opening ceremonies. He'll be back at 9 to get started. But I have some announcements to make and different things. Plus, I don't like awkward silence and everybody just staring at each other. So thank you guys so much for coming out to the Okie Homesteading Expo. How many, this is your first Okie experience? Wow. So yesterday I spoke twice, and both times I asked that, and the majority it was their first one. So that is awesome, that it just keeps growing, new people, new faces. How many you've been to the Okie Expo more than once? I'm Cassie Walker, and I'm with Walker Farm Fam, and we are local to the area. Grew up here, born and raised, and my husband and I, we started a YouTube channel in 2020. I'd always shared our farm experience and our kids' activities and all that on Instagram, and then we decided to kind of take a leap of faith and do that. And so January 1st of 2020, we officially put some videos out. They were really, really bad. And then the world shut down in March, April, and we had nothing else to do, so we put out a whole bunch more videos. So Sean and Brandy with Keeping It Dutch, and Kevin and Rachel with Hidden Heights Farms, they are the founders of the Okie Homesteading Expo and the host. I actually went to school with them, and so I've known them for a long time. And so we are just really blessed that they've allowed us to be a part of this and help out. So they want to give a huge shout out and a big thank you to their diamond sponsors, which is Nutrimil, Ideal Poultry, and Ed Kirkpatrick. The other things they want you guys to know is
everybody thinks that I'm part of the administration now, and I'm like Undersecretary of Agriculture or something like that. That's not the case. That's social media, rumor, gossip, exaggeration. You've ever played the game Gossip? You know, one word gets convoluted by the end.
Telephone.
Yeah, telephone. Yeah. okay? And that's an indictment on us. The other thing is that way too many backyard flocks are old because we name them. This is Priscilla, this is Matilda, this is, you know, Lot's wife, whatever, okay? We name them, and we just can't bring ourselves to put them in the stock pot. And so what happens is that many backyard flocks, and so this is where I'm really wanting to challenge us this morning. Many backyard flocks are geriatric chickens. And these geriatric chickens are doddering around, you know, laying one egg every 2 weeks maybe. And if you've ever butchered an old stewing hen, folks, listen, when those chickens hit 4 years old, they need to go into stew pot. If you're holding on to a chicken over 4 years old into 5, 6 years, I mean, they will live to, you know, maybe 7 years old, and then something will get them. And folks, we don't want to give the industry, which hates what we do, because we threaten their oligarchy. I could go on to the whole thing, but we threaten everything at Tyson and Pilgrim's Pride and Purdue and these big conglomerates. They hate backyard chickens. They hate do-it-yourselfers. They hate homesteaders. They want us to all go to Walmart and Costco and get our chickens from them, okay?
And get vaccinated while we're there.
Yeah. And so we have to be as wise as serpents and harmless as doves here, okay? Because of the stage we're in right now with this bird flu, which is I call bird flu right now COVID 2.0, because it's roughly the same. It's the same people, the same fraternity. The research was, first of all, can we make this more transmissible from bird to bird? So they got that. Then it was, can we make this transmissible with aerosols so that you don't actually have to rub up against the one that has it to communicate for the communicable. It can transfer aerosol, which means air, all right? A-E-R-O, okay. Aerosol. So they did that. And then they said, well, now can we make it transfer species from avian to mammal, to mammalian? Well, in labs, they don't go straight to humans. The stand-in for humans in these lab research are ferrets. And so these labs began using ferrets to try to get this bird flu to transfer from bird to mammal. And they did that.
And what was the purpose of doing that? Just so they could?
I have no clue. I mean, you could go into the matrix and imagine the things. I think is there a nefarious thing? I don't know, but so I try not to use the word conspiracy, because as soon as you do, you're a nutcase, and everybody dismisses you as a nutcase. But I cannot think of a moral or ethical justification for gain of function. Why would you want to make anything that's bad worse?
So gain of function is
normally
making the virus
spreadable, more vibrant, more aggressive, more vibrant.
Virulent.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Beyond what it would naturally be. So that's why there's so many of these competing things. We understand this stuff's been around for centuries. It's been in wild bird populations, and they don't all die. But in the last 24 months, what happened was we've got this new, more virulent strain, and here's the problem. We're going to get on. Is this okay for everybody to talk about bird flu just for a minute?
We need to buy some time anyway for the water to get up to temp. You're good.
I am working very closely with RFK Jr. though. There's a group of about 12 of us that he's called together in a kind of a bird flu working group, and so this is very germane to what we're doing here today. A bird flu working group to create a white paper to present to Secretary of Ag Brooke Rollins to offer a different approach to USDA bird flu policy, which right now is if we find one floating piece of detritus on your farm, your chickens are killed. It doesn't matter whether they're healthy, sick, or anything else, and they're all killed. And so the 166 million chickens that have been killed in the last 24 months, only about, at being very charitable, maybe 1 million have been sick. 165 million have not been sick. It's insanity when you have a sickness to kill the survivors. I mean, that's just insanity. And it appears to me that what I'm seeing in the last literally 48 hours from the Trump administration is that this message is getting through. There's a consortium now of basically all of the medical doctors that. All right, so where I'm going with this is those of us in our tribe, and I'm just going to be very generic here, our tribe, I'm assuming there's not a Monsanto plant in here today. If there is, we will smoke you out. All right. We will, in the cone you will go. But it pains me when I see, although, 98% of the flocks that are being destroyed are factory farm, industrial flocks, there are way too many backyard flocks that are showing up with bird flu. And we like to think that, our chickens are happy and they're healthy and we're not industrial and we don't have a factory farm and, blah, 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 and we're immune to this. But as I've traveled the world and the country, my challenge to all of us is some of the most filthy chickens I've ever encountered are in backyard flocks. They're on dirt pads.